Jump off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa.
Promise you joy in the mystery.
Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, laugh, love, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And welcome. You are tuned into Take My Advice, I'm Not Using It. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA AM 1050, FM 102.3, FM 106.5, and everywhere streaming. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Spreaker, iTunes, Amazon Music, Audible. The list gets longer, but it never ends because I'm on a happy 88 mission. 88 million more happy people in the next 8 years. That's my job, and I'm sticking to it. And I'm so glad that you're still here with me, suffering through my positive talk in the morning, every morning at 8 a.m. After I moved from my afternoon primetime slot, drive time Fridays, to the daily morning show. And I'm so glad you made the switch with me. And for this week, I wanted to highlight a series that I did right after the brutal murder of George Floyd. And I know it's been a little bit, and I know some people are tired of talking about it, and can't we just return to normal? But the answer is no, we cannot return to normal, because when bad things happen, it tells us that change is needed. And so I did this very special series with my satellite sister, Akuyoe Graham, who's an actress, activist, and the founder of Spirit Awakening Foundation, that helps with incarcerated youth to discover who they really are. And I just love the work that she does, and we're also friends. And I thought while I was away in Canada that this would be a good series to leave with you every single day this week, because it's so important for us to remember how we got here, where we are now, and where we need to go, and how to get there with the changes that are needed. So without further ado, please enjoy.
Today is a special day because it is part 4 of a 4-part series, although we will continue to talk for the rest of our lives. But I invited a very special, wonderful person to have this conversation for the past 3 weeks. Today marks 4, to talk about, is it black or white, or is it's not black or white? What is it? There's been many variations. The other way to say it is, these are the peace talks during this time. We are here to anchor you and help anchor at least myself. That's my selfish reason for having her, to find that middle ground, to find the center during this fluxed up time when there's so much hate, there's so much confusion, and so much chaos. So please welcome back to the studio for her 4th consecutive appearance, Akuyoe Graham. So she's an advocate, she's an activist, she's the founder of Spirit Awakening Foundation. She's my satellite sister from Agape International Spiritual Center. We are 2 leaders that were developed by our teacher, Michael Beckwith, who is, it's not a cult. He doesn't develop followers, he develops leaders. And I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for that. So let's get right to the topic, because we always run out of time.
We do.
And there's so many things today. I thought a couple of topics. One is, since you have brought up us several times in reviewing our tapes, that protests are what our country was born on, that protests are a necessary good, that peaceful protests are predominantly the main response immediately after the killing, the murder of George Floyd. So I thought we would spend a California minute, just highlighting the things that have happened because of the protests. So what good, because I hear about what bad, vandalism, riots, innocent people. We talked about that, but let's go to the other side today and look at what good has come from those protests, from our protests.
Well, we can start right here in Los Angeles, and forgive me, I don't have her name, but Los Angeles just appointed a new deputy chief of the sheriff's department, policing, and she is known for having successfully brought in new policing policies and tactics and ways of policing in South Central, Nickerson Gardens, and she's highly regarded. Everyone's really excited about that. So some of the good things that are happening is the changes that are being brought about. The fact that some of these statutes are being dismantled and brought down. And I think, what that has done is at least brought up the dialogue that if you're going to have statues of people, then mark them truthfully. Let's say who they really were. If you're going to name a bridge, Edmund Pettus Bridge, then let's name it and call it what it is, that this was named after the Grand Dragon of the KKK, rather than having these things and lying about them. Let's say what it is. So the other thing that's happening that I think is really exciting is, for instance, there was a press release from Dr. Bob Ross. He's the president of the California Endowment. And he, along with other major philanthropies, are dedicating, I believe, $35 million to give to nonprofits founded and headed by women and men. That's my wish.
Yes.
Founded and headed by people of color.
Beautiful.
Which is beautiful because, historically, those organizations are underfunded, so there's a lot of amazing things that are happening. Really.
I found her name, Amada Tingiri. I didn't say that. I didn't say it right. Tingirides, a Watts native.
That's right.
So she's becoming LAPD's second Black female deputy chief. So that's a really amazing testament. So, those remarkable. Of you who are resentful or angry with the protests, I will say it is a necessary good. I will tell you that 1 month after George Floyd died, mass protests, it's the largest, global reaction. Black Lives Matter is the largest global reaction. City councilors have vowed to reform police department statutes, toppled, as you were saying, corporations promised greater diversity and inclusivity. Celebrities donated millions to affiliated organizations. CEOs have resigned to make way for Black leaders. Brands have been called out for their lack of diversity and racist behavior. So Gone with the Wind was temporarily taken off HBO Max.
That's right. Gone with the Wind was Gone with the Wind. Gone with the Winds of Change.
And I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. And after the news break, we'll be back with more of It's Not Black and White, or is it? Dr. Marissa and Akuyoe Graham. Don't go away.
Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And we're back. You're tuned into Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, AM 1050, FM 102.3, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. And we have more of It's Not Black and White, or is it? Dr. Marissa and Akuyoe Graham.
As what you said to the show that we were talking about last week, the Cops. The U.S. police officer charged with Floyd's murder appeared in court for the first time June 9th, charged with second-degree murder and second-degree manslaughter, which still, to me, I don't know why it's not first degree. However, it's a huge change from the many names, hashtag say their names, whose killers were freed. I mean, so this is a step-by-step process. The other three that you were talking about last week that just stood by were charged with aiding and abetting.
That's right.
Second-degree murder, so that's good. Louisville Metro Police fired one of their 3 officers involved in the fatal shooting of Breonna Taylor. Okay.
We're still waiting for them to be arrested, though.
Okay.
That's right.
So, let's see. London mayor's, the London mayor, Sadiq Khan, launched a diversity commission to investigate which statues should be retained. In Germany, I think, Tony, I sent you that photo. A graffiti artist, Emmy Freethinker, painted Floyd's portrait on one of the last remaining sections of the Berlin Wall.
Wow.
Which is beautiful.
And look, it says, I can't breathe. Oh, that just makes me want to cry.
Right? Germany Canada, demonstrators have been protesting against police brutality and the death of Regis Korshinsky Paquette, a 29-year-old Black woman who recently died in Toronto after falling from her balcony during a police investigation. In New Zealand, senior ministers denounced Donald Trump as racist over his response on Twitter to protests over the death of Floyd.
That's right. So look at all that good that's come through, because again, this is such a seismic shift. It's a worldwide shift of such, depth and deep proportions. It's, so many things are going to change. Many things are going to be moved around. I'm excited by the fact that resources are being moved around, because again, part of what we're seeing is that a lot of the poverty that people of color experience has been by design. It's not because we're lazy or aren't as good or can't think or don't work. I mean, how do you label a people that were enslaved and worked from sun up to sundown, beaten? They worked, barefoot sometimes in the rain and the heat. How do you label that group lazy is beyond me. But that's where, narrative comes in. That's where narrative comes in. So it's, to me, what's exciting also is, in the entertainment industry, looking at, well, what are the stories we're telling? Because the story that for so long has been told about people of color has been that, we're lazy and, and
criminal. You do the shooting, you do the robbing, you do the raping.
Exactly.
That's the theme of most, right?
That's right. And what it has created is a fear of Blackness. So I'm excited about the new stories that will come forth with different interperations.
That I want to highlight that moose on the table that talk about the elephant in the room, because decades and decades of painting Black people as someone to, this whole thing about fear has fed into, because Black people are dangerous, we need more police to protect you. And that underlying unspoken, but very invasive, powerful message has created this, this fear of defunding police.
That's right.
It's like the black and white reaction of, okay, we have to look at, defunding the police. Then the majority white reaction, I hope it's not majority, but what I see on Facebook and what I hear, especially in Huntington Beach, is, sorry, I couldn't resist, is this, right now crime's going to go up because we're not going to have police anymore. And who's going to protect us now? And that is a direct result, the increase. Look at what's happening in Portland, Oregon. The whole, at least thank God, the wall of moms are saying, we don't want your federal protection.
That's right.
There's nothing to be afraid of here.
That's right.
These are our children. Leave us alone. Thank God. Thank God. That's a protest.
That's
right. A peaceful protest. And
That's
then,
right.
Shooting bullets into a wall of moms. Like,
I know.
Geez.
And the dads have now joined them. Veteran vets have joined them, in support of their children that are peacefully protesting.
Yes.
And the thing about the defunding the police, what people don't want to hear is that it's not just defunding them and that's it. No, we're talking about minimizing their budget, that the ginormous budget that goes into the police and military, and placing some of those resources and investing in communities, investing in neighborhood building, relationship building, which is what this new police chief deputy chief is talking about,
right.
So that you have police men and women that know the communities that they are assigned to, that are there for at least 5 years, that will know the people who live in these communities, so that when something happens, can you imagine if the cop shows up and will say, hey, Joe, put the knife down. Come on, Joe, put the knife down.
Right. I know you. This is not who you are. You're
exactly. And studies have shown when those kinds of policing does take place, where relationships have been built in those neighborhoods, it works. It really works. So I'm very excited about all the incredible things that have been born through protest.
Yes.
For the most part, the peaceful protesting. And I dare say that a lot of the violence in these protests are not by the protesters. It's by, people that have been planted there, that are there to cause harm.
Yes.
And it's not the Black Lives Matter movement. Black Lives Matter is not condoning violence on people. That's not what it was formed for. God knows. I mean, can you imagine? Black Lives Matter was created to support and save Black lives. So it's not going to turn around and say, go kill and harm people. No.
Right.
So it's been infiltrated. A lot of these protests are infiltrated by people that don't want the protest actually succeed, that don't want to see the changes, the systemic changes that are being made, be made.
Yeah. And that's why I'm just begging people who have the knee-jerk reactions to whatever news is popping up that says, protesting is bad, or that, let's just wait this out until it dies down. Black Lives Matter was not born out of George Floyd. Black Lives Matter finally, with George Floyd, gained enough understanding from, people who did not understand before. My friend, my white friend that I talk about, and she always goes, you were talking about me again. But it was just so poignant that she didn't know about all the other names of people who have, and I have to be honest too, when Michael Brown, the name came up, I was like, who's Michael Brown? And so, Black Lives Matter is a peaceful protest movement that kind of, was like this. And then with George Floyd, it went like this. Then the awareness, that was what was needed. We needed the tipping point for people to stop. And those who have the power, who mostly have the power, the white brothers and sisters of ours who are in office, they're the loan officers that decide loans. Yeah. They are the hiring managers who decide jobs. They are the people whose attitudes and respect mean the most, because they make the decisions that either continue the inequity or they change the platform and the landscape of equity, so that this machine called billion-dollar industry prison with so many Black young men who 98% have never seen trial or who are stopped, on the street for no reason because of that, that whole machinations of fear. That bottom line, we have reason to be afraid of Black people. And I am hoping that a result of this 4-part series, if there's nothing else, is for everyone to take a breath and just please look at your own fear. Where's that coming from? And is it fair? Is it fair? I mean, I shared before, Chinese have the name for Black people is Heigui, is Black ghoul. So it's a systemic disease and infection. And it's not just, it's in every race where we all have to say, not on my watch.
That's right.
Right? The buck stops right over here. It is not a Black problem.
That's right.
It's a humankind opportunity for improvement, because we can't solve the problem at the level of problem. We have to rise above to the solution.
That's right.
So I'm sorry, I just took up a lot of room there, but
not at all. No apology. That's what this is for.
I was on a roll. So I dream of a day when it says, when we are restored to police, bringing it all the way around, to serve.
Yeah, to protect and serve.
I want to see it to serve.
Yes.
And protect.
Yes. That would be wonderful, wouldn't it? Which again, I think is why, again, there's been this, just amazing response to the George Floyd killing. Number one, as we've said in every week, and as everyone knows, because of Corona, we were all forced. Many people who normally would turn the TV off perhaps and say, I don't want to see that. You're stuck at home. You got to see it, and I think, that to serve, which part of this incident was about serving or protecting, So again, it just hit home. Yes. And I think that's why we had the worldwide response the way it's been. And again, as our beloved soul brother and teacher Dr. Beckwith teaches us, there's work for everyone to do. And I know for myself, because Black people, we're not a monolith, so I don't want to presume to speak for every Black person. I just know that what is mine to do is to excavate those places within me, the spaces within my own being, wherever I have bought into not being enough, not being good enough. Wherever I have believed, what has been said about me that is not true. So my job is to excavate those areas, to clean them out, to release, to let it go.
Yes.
And that's absolutely my job. And that's what I can do to help stop the systemic racism that has been perpetuated on various people of different colors.
And after the news break, we'll be back with more of It's Not Black and White, or is it? Dr. Marissa and Akuyoe Graham. Don't go away.
Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And we're back. You're tuned into Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, AM 1050, FM 102.3, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. And we have more of It's Not Black and White, or is it? Dr. Marissa and Akuyoe Graham.
Including women as well. So, it's like double the work, not only as a Black person, also as a woman, to excavate those spaces, those places within my own consciousness where I have bought into being the other.
Yes.
And believe me, I have. you know? And so it's been interesting to look at where I can begin to do that work and go to the subtleties. You know, I've done a lot of the heavy lifting. I know I have, and yet there are subtleties. It's like peeling an onion. Sometimes there are, you know, when you're peeling an onion, there are layers that are so thin that it's hard to, you know, take it away. So that's kind of where I'm at, looking at those thin layers that are very subtle, they're residual, and yet they're there, you know, and to let them go. So I no longer buy into anything that would make anyone the other.
Yes,
you know?
yes, absolutely.
Starting with myself.
Yeah, yeah. And I'd like to put beside your onion, I like the artichoke, because onions make me cry. So I like to use the artichoke because there's a little bit of good in every of those leaves. And there's a heart, a juicy heart in the middle. And that's you, a juicy heart in the middle.
You too.
And if you're wondering what you're watching and what you're listening to right now, you are tuned into my weekly talk radio, positive talk radio TV show syndicated on iHeartRadio and CNBC, KCAA, every Monday at 6 and Saturday at 6, and then every Tuesday at naturally high noon here at UBN Go Studios out of Burbank, California. And this is part 4 of a series that I've called It's Not Black and White because of all the conflict, or is it? And my convo partner is the beautiful inside and out Akuyoe Graham, activist, advocate, actor, many acting credits, but she's first and foremost my satellite sister who's helping me, you know, with this stuff. And let's take a breath right now. We were talking about Portland, and one of the painful sacrifices that was made that did contribute, in my mind, I don't know if this is true or not, but the timing of the fueling of the protests in Oregon. Can we have a breath right now for a beloved friend of ours, Curtis Bird, who just laid to rest his cousin, Dominique Dunn, who took a bullet after ignoring being called the N-word. And it was the second out of 5 bullets that were shot. And he died like Floyd to raise the awareness of the unfairness that is happening in our beloved country called the United States of America. So just a moment, a breath of silence. And releasing peace and comfort and love and joy and wonder and bliss and an understanding and a generosity and kindness to all of those who loved his family, especially Curtis.
Yeah.
I love you so much.
That's right. That's right. It's hit home. I mean, we all know someone, you know, that's been affected by all of this, you know, whether it's a business owner or, you know, people that, you know, made their transitions as a result of, you know, some of the violence in these protests, you know, and coming, as we said earlier, from individuals and groups that deliberately go out there to inflict harm, you know, groups that are resisting the ginormous change that is taking place.
Yes.
You know, they're in high resistance to it, you know, and so they resort to what they know, which is out of their fear, they resort to violence, you know, and yet the writing is on the wall, you know, and we know, and the writing is literally on the Berlin Wall, you know, and change is happening. Change is here, and the tide cannot be, you know, turned back. It's moving. You know, this is an evolutionary, you know, universe, planet, and life is progressive, ever evolving. It never goes backwards. So we are definitely progressing, you know, moving forward. The movement is up, and they can resist all they want. It's not going to change anything. You know, these changes that are taking place are deep and wide and real. And
thank
it's about time.
God.
Thank God.
God.
Yeah. Right?
Thank humankind.
Yes.
You know, we that's who we really are. We are not racist.
No.
We may engage in racist behavior, but that's
right.
not how we were made.
That's right.
That's not
That's
who
right.
we are.
It's not who we are.
Yeah.
We are stardust. We are
yeah.
golden.
Yeah.
We are love. That's who we really are.
Yeah. Precious children of a friendly universe. And with that, let's go to thank the sponsors of today's show. And when we come back, we're going to do a little tribute to Rep. John Lewis.
Oh, yes.
Who this show is also dedicated to. So
wonderful.
We'll be right back in 2 and 2.
2 and 2.
Do you believe that people deserve second chances? Do you want to be part of the solution? Do you want to invest in the future of vulnerable, neglected young women who need to heal, live, survive, and thrive freely? Well, you can through Project Spirit Home, a safe place for young women who have a tough past grow into a new future in a home where they can heal safely, live freely, and grow mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Donate today at www.spiritawakening.org today. And we have a second promo, but I guess we'll come back to that. We'll do that at the end in the balance bar. But I did want to recognize a great role model. And boy, I watched the service yesterday. That was beautiful. Representative 17 terms. And I use that as a symbol of hope because he was elected. So there's hope.
That's right.
Right?
That's right. Yeah.
Well, we're not all flexed up, right?
Yes.
The fact that he did, that many terms, but I did not know, one of the best things about my show is I'm forced to research people and just the magnificence of his life. But he really embodied the spirit of Martin Luther King. Yeah. And I didn't realize to what extent, but I wanted you to show Tony the one poster he did, and his absolute my favorite saying that he did that I can't seem to find right now. Here it is. You are a light. You are a light. You are the light. Never let anyone, any person, or any force dampen, dim, or diminish your light. Release the need to hate, to harbor division, and the enticement of revenge. All bitterness. Hold only love. Only peace in your heart, knowing that the battle of good to overcome evil is already won. And I have to say, I want to use that as a tribute to you because you are that light to me and to so many people. And I want you to tell the story. I wanted us to do this before the series ended about the gang members that you walked into the room with, because I think that that's the place we have to all be in for this to work. So
when the murder had taken place, I think that's the story you're talking about. For those who don't know, Spirit Awakening Foundation, which I founded 25 years ago, we work with young people in the juvenile system. We now call them at promise rather than at risk. In any case, when I had first began doing this work, I was working at Barry J. Nido Juvenile Hall and Camp Aflabar. And I went to the program and I was working with a group of young men in gangs, that were incarcerated. And this one particular day, there had been a really horrific crime that had been committed when some gang members had knocked on a door a young boy opened the door, and 10 years old, and the gang members shot and killed him on a dare. You know, his family was not affiliated with gangs. The dare was just go and randomly kill someone, and it was a young boy. And this just, you know, it was outrageous. I was devastated by this. And I cried all morning, and I drove my little car to Laverne, to Camp Afflebar, to work with my boys. And they noticed, they said, Miss A, what's wrong? And I said to them, you know, today I am just so heartbroken. And I told them what I'd heard on the news. And I said, this is just so senseless, you know. And I told them my heart was broken because I kept thinking about first that boy, you know, that innocent child that opened the door, and then his family, you know. And I said, for what? For what? And I had no words. And once I said that, all of us, we just sat. We sat for over an hour in silence. It wasn't like, let's meditate, let's pray. It was just that none of us had words for what had happened, you know. And so after about an hour of just sitting, one of the young men said, Miss A, why don't we dedicate our work to all the families who have lost a loved one due to the violence in teenagers today? Ooh, and we did. We created a book of writings from our program. And the name of the book is We Speak from Death to Life. And it was so powerful. The poems, the pieces in that book. And we dedicated the whole thing to the families of who had lost loved ones due to the violence in teenagers. So it was really profound, you know, that we had that shift in the silence. In the silence, I believe what happened is that love moved into all of our hearts, and we were able to, and the love was able to go to those places where words could not go. Because sometimes, you know, there are just no words. You know, like, again, the killing of George Floyd, there are no words when something horrific happens, and you just have to be still. You know, Joel Goldsmith, whom I read a lot, you know, says, don't assume to understand what's going on. Don't assume that you understand what you see with your eyes. And sometimes there is a need to just stop and be still and ask God, what is this that I'm seeing? So, you know, at the time I hadn't even read Joel Goldsmith, but that's what we did. I believe that in that instance with those gang members that were in my class, there were no words. So we had to be still. To allow spirit, to allow love to go to those places within us, those crevices where words could not go, you know, to allow us to soften. For those young men, all of whom were in gangs, to really feel the weight of the senselessness of that act, you know, so they could come to their right minds. And I dare say some of them did say, you know what, this is BS. What am I doing? Right. What am I doing? Right. Because they saw how it affected me. And then when they allowed themselves, they let it affect themselves as well. You know, because a lot of times, again, just like with the Floyd, we get distracted. We get busy. We allow ourselves to get busy so we don't have to feel. Right. What we can feel. Which if we can all get to that place where we are not, again, reacting with, I cannot forgive, or I cannot excuse, or I cannot condone. You sat with gang members who killed the child for an hour in silence and let the silence do its work. That's right. You know, let, you know, because if you have punished or you blame or you hate or you know, shame, it has no effect. And that's what we're doing. That's what the majority of us are doing with this thing called racism, with this thing called, you know, Black Lives Matter, All Lives Matter, Blue Lives Matter. I just see the opposite of this, the healing power of
silence and peace, and
Absolutely.
and starting here and then asking, what is it for me to do? I think
right.
that should be the name of this series.
Absolutely. I agree. And just to clarify, the gang members I was sitting with were not the ones that had done that killing. They were there because they had done other things.
Right.
Yes. And the point, though, you articulated beautifully, Dr. M, my beloved soul sister, in that, the silence is so powerful. It is so incredibly powerful. And, when we have the courage to be still, we can really go to, we can expand our capacity for loving, because love is infinite. And our capacity to love is infinite as well.
Yes.
We just have to be willing conduits, willing to be still, willing to let it expand us, willing to let it grow us, and again, I think that's one of the things about this moment with, Queen Corona. She's like, humans, be still, stay home, be still, and stop your busyness. If there's something for you to do, do it. However, let go of the busyness,
right?
The distractions,
yes,
that's taking you away from moving into greater capacities for loving.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Because with that will come better distribution of resources. With that capacity to love will come better outcomes. Then someone is looking at mortgage applications. You're not going to just say no because of someone's color. You're going to look at their application, and where you can help, you will help them.
Yes.
That will come when we allow ourselves to love and allow ourselves to be expanded in our loving. And one surefire way to do that is in the stillness, in the quiet, in the peace. When we can allow the capacity to grow, to expand, there has to be the willingness. And I believe that's one of the invitations that Queen Corona is giving us at this time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Heard it called Queen Corona. I just call it BC 19, the time before Corona. So now it'll be Queen Corona. And we're getting some wonderful hearts and likes. Shout out to Ada and Laor and just a number of people. Just there's so many different places. I can't say them all, but just knowing that there's support here, knowing that there's things we can do.
That's right.
You had posted and I shared, and I'm getting a lot of credit for a lot of more people signing the petition to make KKK a terrorist organization.
Absolutely.
So that's something you can do.
That's right.
And that comes, and that, so I hope we have demonstrated in these 4 parts that you can still get upset and angry and disturbed and then act in love. I mean, I think that's our, that's our rose-colored Kool-Aid that we're trying to get you to drink, is that there still can be some, right action that comes out of the wait a minute, especially, mine's a little more raw than Akuyo's, but
I'm not sure about that.
Okay. At least not on here anyway.
Right.
But, yeah, absolutely. So my closing question for this series is what is your wish as a result of our, 4-part series in this forum? What is your wish for any and all those who watch and listen and think and sit? What is your wish?
Well, I wish that all those that have joined us in this 4-part series will have taken away something from it, maybe, like you said, something that they can do. My wish is that everyone has heard something that really resonates with them in a profound way, so that they can take that which resonates with them, and with that, have the courage to ask, well, what is mine to do? So that when they, whatever is resonating, even if it's something that has maybe upset them that we've said, be with that and have the courage to say, okay, what is it that is being triggered? What is it that this experience right now is wanting me to know what is in this for me. What am I to know? Something they said triggered me or set me off or angered me. What is the meaning of that? So I'm hoping and knowing that our beautiful listeners and watchers of this series will take away something meaningful, and perhaps new techniques for being with their triggers, for being with what moves them deeply in their souls. Mm-hmm. And will ask that question, what is mine to do at this time? What are the gifts that I came to contribute? Mm-hmm. What are my gifts to contribute? Yeah. Again, our beloved teacher and soul brother, Dr. Beckwith, once said, talked about the word human being, the giver of gifts. Well, then if that is so, then what are the gifts that we are each here to give? Mm-hmm. And let us give those gifts. Let us not wait one more second. Let us do it in support of John Lewis.
Live out his legacy.
His legacy.
Let's live out his legacy.
That's right. Celebrate his legacy by giving your gifts. Yeah. Celebrate the legacy of Dr. King by giving your gifts. Yes. Celebrate the legacy of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Trayvon Martin, and so many others, by giving your gifts.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much. I love you. We're out of time.
As always.
Join us if you're just joining us now, or if you'd like to join us again. We're going to do another watch party of this particular episode Monday at 6. So that'll be a chance for you to chat with us. We're also putting together a little promo reel, a sizzle reel of this series. So I would love it if all of you would write somewhere and go to drmarissa.life and put in an email how this series has impacted you, what you learned, what you disagree with, what you agree with, what you learned about yourself, what you learned about racism. We would love and appreciate that, because we really would like to continue this past the 4 times. We just kind of like hanging out, and we'd love to have a sponsor to be behind us in this and put it on a bigger platform. So you can help us do that with anything that you would like to say. So thanks again. I love you so much.
I love you.
Akuyoe Graham here on the show one more time. And I have just a few minutes for my balance bar. Welcome to a time and a space where I invite you on. We're going to do our promo real quick. I'm waiting for the music. Want to find happiness? Well, it's looking for you. 8 Ways to Happiness from Wherever You Are by Dr. Marissa Pei is a self-help book on steroids with practical concepts and exercise that will help you find the love you've been looking for inside yourself. It's a cross between I'm okay and you're okay, and you're still okay. And if you do the exercises, you will never hate yourself the same way again. For an autographed copy of this #1 bestseller, go to www.drmarissa.life or just order at Target, Walmart, and Amazon today. You can choose happiness because pain in life is mandatory, but suffering is optional. Alrighty, and you can join me as usual. I'm still doing my 10 a.m. free classes of balanced Tai Chi Gong, a moving meditation that promotes inner peace one breath at a time. Thank you to Purple Planet Music for all of your music. Thank you for all your support with my mom. Her blood pressure is still up and down, so continue with the prayers. There's a picture of me and my mom. I don't think we showed it last week. Please go to Medium. My newest article got 50 claps. I'm so grateful. Your BS, your belief systems are killing America. And I think, Tony, you have a picture of that too. Please go if you want to listen to part 1, 2, and 3 of Akuyoe Graham and I series. It is on my YouTube channel, and I'm so grateful again for your support there. We're over 206,000 views. And any show sponsors who want to continue, we are next week having the most amazing guest. It's going to be a giant show. She just was on Jimmy Fallon. She was on Oprah. She's on Jada Pinkett Smith's Red Table Talk. It's Jane Elliott, the amazing 86-year-old who spent her entire forking life fighting racism. A white woman. She's delightful. She did Brown Eye, Blue Eyes, PBS Frontline. You must see that show. I use it all the time for my value and diversity work. That's next Tuesday. So keep it here for Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get happy with Dr. Marissa, because it's all about balance. Peace in, peace out. World peace through inner peace.
Well, I hope you have enjoyed this very special series. It's not black and white, or is it? My conversations, my put the moose on the table, my Canadian version of the elephant in the room talks with Akuyoe Graham. I know that we are going to get through this together. I know that we will continue not to fight, but to love through all of these changes, and that you are so important as part of this effort to end racism, as we all are. I hope you've enjoyed this entire series. If you want to support Akuyoe, it's Spirit Awakening Foundation. If you'd like to support my work that I'm doing, I have a nonprofit called 8 Ways to Happiness for kids, teens, and adults who have temporarily forgotten their way to happiness, but temporarily. Please go to my website, drmarissa.life. You can go to the page that is 8 Ways to Happiness 501c, or you can just donate on PayPal or any of those places. 8 Ways to Happiness is the foundation name, especially since this is my birthday month. I won't be, I'm not shy. I would love to have any and all support. If you're enjoying this show, which is free, then please do. If you are a small business, medium business, big business, and you're looking for a place to advertise and have your product, service, or organization event highlighted and spotlighted on my show about hope and happiness, please do contact me. And I have very affordable rates, because I want everyone to be able to share what's good, what's right about you and me. That's it for today's show. And that's it for this week. I hope you have the best weekend ever. It's all about balance. Peace in, peace out, world peace through inner peace. This is Dr. Marissa reporting live, reminding you to have the best day ever.